Hi, everybody. Welcome back. We're going to do the second part of our beginning of understanding hypertext markup language. So, in the last lesson, we went ahead and opened up Notebook or text editor and then started creating an HTML document. So, we made this super simple one first, and we saved that file as index.html and a UTF on your desktop. And we're going to have to do a little bit with the file structure of that. You're going to need to create a folder and put index.htm in here in a little bit in this lesson to make images work. And you're going to start to learn a little bit more about file structure when you're creating a site. So then we covered, or we didn't really specifically refer to these must-haves, but all HTML documents need to start with this doc type HTML. Okay, so you're going to need that at the beginning. So if you look at the super simple one we did, there it is. And then also the HTML document itself begins with this tag HTML and then the closing tag \HTML. And then the visible part of the HTML document is between the tag body and the tag \body. So if we look at the super simple one, there it is, the doc type HTML, then opening and closing HTML, and then the visible part of the document body and closing body. So you're going to need to have that in any HTML document that you create. Then we did headers. So we did this kind of a header, which is the most simple kind, or your sort of your main header, and then secondary importance header and tertiary or third most important header. We created a document like that, and it looked like. We need to copy using Command C. So looks like this. File, save, and it's going to look like this. So this HTML right here will look like this. All right. Then, after we did headings, we talked a bit about lorem ipsum. We're going to talk a little more about lorem ipsum today. Then we did paragraphs and created a simple paragraph. This one was the blah, 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 but then we added some lorem ipsum in there. So let me copy this and go over to our text editor. And save this. And that looks like this with some paragraphs in there. And remember, these paragraphs will scale depending on the width of your browser as you select and turn that stuff into paragraphs. All right. And now we'll go back over our slides. So that's where we got the last time we worked. For going forward today, we're going to start being a little more creative with the HTML site you're creating, and we're going to keep building on this. So I showed you that there's different types of lorem ipsum that you can get, and here's some that I found on Star Wars, on bacon, zombies, cats, baseball, pirates, skateboarding, TV, on desserts. There's tons of lorem ipsums out there, and I'd like for you to at least select one lorem ipsum. You can select 3 different ones. That's the way I'm going to do the HTML site I'm making here today. But I want you to have a theme around which you can build this site that you're creating with HTML. And so you're going to use the type of lorem ipsum that you found to do that. And all you got to do is Google lorem ipsum generators, and you'll see there are tons of different ones out there, or you can use any of these ones that I found right here, and these are addresses to those ones if you want, but find some lorem ipsum to use to base your work around. Let's talk about hyperlinks, folks. So we've done paragraphs and we've done headings, but in any kind of a website, you're going to need hyperlinks or links to other locations on the web. And this is the tag you use to do that. So A, closing A, but you're also going to need this text here, which is going to be href equals, so this is their hypertext reference, equals, and then this is the address that you're linking to, and that's going to be surrounded by quotation marks. And then after the opening tag, the A tag that's got the address in it, you're going to put whatever text your link is going to read. So this is what will show up in the HTML document, and this is the address that the link will go to. So for example, here's the paragraph that we had, and I've added some hypertext to it. And these are the links to the lorem ipsum pages that I'm getting the lorem ipsum for the paragraphs from. So let's just take this and we will place it inside of our text editor to create that site. So I'm going to take this and there you go, and hit file and save. Now this is what it's going to create. Refresh. And there it is. And if you see here, I've now got hyperlinks. So if I click on this one, it takes me to the cheese lorem ipsum generator, because that's the address that I put in here. Okay, so that's the link it's taken me to. So that's how you add hypertext to your site so that you can have links. Hyperlinks are a super important thing to have. And then the other thing that we want to add today are images. So an image doesn't have an opening and closing tag necessarily the same way that the tags we've used before are. It's still contained in the opening and closing brackets, but instead here we have an image source and then where you can find the image source at. So this is when we need to start creating file structures. So what I've done is we have this index file that you've created so far, which is your HTML document. I want you to create a folder on your desktop and put that index file inside of that folder. So I created a folder called Food Site on my desktop. You can see that right here. And then I placed the index file inside of Food Site. Then inside of the Food Site folder, I created another folder called Images. So the image source is images\veggies.jpg. And if you look inside of my folder here, I have an image of veggies. This is it right here, and it's a JPEG document. Okay, so the file extension on a JPEG document is .jpg. So it's called images. That's the name of this folder that it's in, veggies JPEG. Okay, the HTML document is always going to reference inside of the folder that it's inside of. So you don't need to tell it food site images veggies in this instance. Because the index HTML file is inside of the folder Food Site, it's always going to work inside of that folder. So you just need to tell it, look inside of the folders, the images folder inside of the same folder that it's in. So it's looking inside of the same folder, it finds images, and then inside of images, it finds this file called veggies, and make sure to put the file extension on it. Now, I've also got a bacon image here, which is a PNG file. And so in that instance, instead of bacon.jpg, it should say bacon.png. because it needs to know the file extension, the kind of file that it is. So let's look here. This is going to have the 3 images. So let's copy this. If you look at it, I've got, of course, all my necessary stuff. And then I've got a heading that says bacon. And then it says image source equals images /bacon.png for the PNG file. And you've got here cheese and veggies. So I'm going to copy this. Go over to my text editor. And let's paste this in. And so here's my, now my HTML document this way. And I'll go File, Save. And now I'm going to refresh over here so we can take a look. And that's what we get. So let me just tear this off. So this HTML equals this website. See, heading bacon, the image of bacon, heading cheese, the image of cheese, heading veggies, image of veggies. What I did was I just went to different websites, found the images, right-clicked on them, save image as, okay? And then you would want to save that image into your images folder inside of the folder you've created that you placed your index document inside of, okay? So if I go back to my Finder, you can see I created this food sites folder, put the index HTML file in it, then put the images folder in it. Here's veggies. I saved this file to that folder. Now, if I place, so I'm going to go save image as, and so look, it actually has, this is the name it's going to save as if I save it in there, right? So then I renamed it to just say veggies to make it simpler. If you keep this file name, then inside of your HTML document, you need to make sure you type all of this in as the file name of the image. So once again, I'll pull my Finder up. If I save this right now, go over to my Finder, now this is what it's called. And so I would need to add all of this inside of the HTML document. Instead of just saying veggies, it would have to say veggies dash and then 2efd941.jpg. And I don't, I preferred not to have to type all that stuff in. So instead, I renamed and just called it veggies. For some reason, it's giving me a hard time about renaming it. Oh, there we go. And then you would just, oops. And then you would just type in whatever you wanted to call it. I don't need this file, so I'm going to delete it. Okay, so that's how we would get images into our files. So you might want to mess around with this and try that part. Now, moving back over to our HTML, or moving back to our slideshow right here. Okay, let's put all this stuff together. So here is a document that's now going to use all the different elements that we've used so far. I'm going to make this a little bigger, try and make it easier for you to see. So I've got our necessary stuff, doc type, HTML, body. Then I'm going to go heading 1, bacon. Then heading 2, bacon is delicious. And underneath of that, I'm going to have the hyperlink to the Lorem Ipsum site for bacon. Then I'm going to have a paragraph tag that's got my bacon Lorem Ipsum. Then heading 3 says this is bacon, and underneath of that, I've got the image source reference, okay? And I'm going to do that for cheese, and I'm going to do that for veggies, okay? So this is the HTML document I've got. So if I copy this and place this as my HTML text in my HTML document, it's going to look like that. I'll go File, Save. Okay, then go back to the, this is just, remember, my web browser that I've opened that file in, and refresh it. If you don't remember how I did that, so here it is. This is the way that document looks now. And let me just run through this. There's the HTML. So I've got my necessary stuff here. Then bacon as heading 1. Then heading 2, bacon is delicious, right? See, that's smaller text. And then the hyperlink underneath of that. Then I've got my paragraph in lorem ipsum. Then heading 3, this is bacon, and then my image source of the bacon. And then I repeat that for cheese and for veggies. So it looks like this, okay? Always remember in your text editor, so this is just the slideshow. My text editor is right here. This is where I actually type the stuff in. And remember, you're always gonna need to save the new HTML file or resave your HTML file so that the changes will take. And then you can either, if you just leave that file open, you can always just refresh it inside of your web browser. Or you can always just open with, choose your web browser, and open it that way. And so that's the same difference. If you want to save versions of this so you can just see the difference, that's fine. I've just been updating the same HTML document. What I'm going to ask you to do is either do multiple examples. You're going to find a theme. So I used 3 different lorem ipsum generators, okay? And you can either do it that way and create a different section of your HTML document for each type of lorem ipsum with an image that corresponds, or you may choose to, you might have wanted to do just a site on bacon, so you might want to have 3 different lorem ipsum paragraphs on bacon and 3 different images of bacon. So you may want to just use 3 different images, 3 different paragraphs from the same lorem ipsum generator with hyperlinks. What I'm looking for is these elements. I'm looking for the different heading levels, H1, H2, and H3. I'm looking for, and I want those 3 different times. I'm looking for 3 paragraphs, and I'm looking for 3 images set up the way this site looks and this HTML document is created. So I'm looking for that from you, and you're going to upload that HTML document to this assignment, and that will cover the requirements here. So I want you to practice doing that, and I look forward to seeing everybody's work.